Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Spirits and Monsters of Old Seattle. I am your host, Brian Kershaw. I am our game master who's going to be taking us through another mystery, although this one is going to be a little bit of a different kind of episode, as we're going to be doing an interlude between mysteries. Of course, I am not going to be doing this alone. I have my trusty crew of investigators here who are going to be going through this interlude with us together.
And you've
Uh,
also got us.
and having everyone go through a quick introduction again, since somebody jumped up first, Phoenix, could you introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Phoenix, playing the character of one Julian Benavides. He is a socialite archetype. We both identify with he, him.
Perfect. All right, and next up, Erin, can you tell us about yourself and who you're playing?
I am Erin, she, her, and I play Sofie, Inge's daughter, also she, her. She is an academic. She is around 40, and she is a lady who just wants to help women who have been put in a difficult position. And also, of course, she's doing a lot of research on the down low into creepy stuff, as we do at the library.
Excellent.
And I'm Quinn. I used to go by V-Them for a while, but I've decided to settle on they, them. And I play Caelan Tegan, the 23-year-old vagabond. And he's just here to have a good time. And that's it.
Excellent. Since we wrapped up our last mystery, several months have passed, and we are now deep into the season of spring. Springtime in the Pacific Northwest can almost feel claustrophobic. You will never know how many different levels of gray can exist in the clouds overhead until you've experienced Seattle in March, making it feel like the ceiling is pressing down on top of you. There is also, of course, the rain. Don't be mistaken. This isn't the great rolling thunderstorms one might expect in the Midwest, or the sudden cloudbursts of the Deep South. Instead, the towns of Ballard and Seattle experience a light drizzle of rain that seems to happen almost every single day for months on end. It often feels as though nothing will ever be fully dry again. But there are rare days in the late spring when the clouds part and you can see the sun again. Everything seems to come alive on those days, and birds, animals, people, and perhaps even some of the Vossen just want to stand in the sunlight and finally start to feel warm again. We find ourselves upon one of these beautiful days. The air is fresh and crisp, and the sun is providing a steady warmth that folks haven't felt in months. It is, in fact, the third day in a row of sunshine. And for the members of the library, that can mean only one thing. The library's agents are no longer free to simply lounge and appreciate the sun's light. No walking down boardwalks, reading books in window boxes, or laying in the grass warming themselves under the sun. Instead, as if by ritual, each member of the library is already spoken for today. Today, everyone must head into Ballard, putting aside thoughts of leisure activities and pleasant days. Instead, they are all needed for the task at hand, because today is spring cleaning day. Barring a few investigators working on far-flung cases, every agent of the library is at the headquarters today. They work on different tasks, freshening up the musty chambers, beating dust and dirt from rugs, and repainting the outside of the building. Many hands will make light work, though, and in the space of a day, most everything will be done. Only the central chamber, containing the library itself is spared from this deep cleaning, as no one wishes to risk old Agda's wrath by trying to dust her bookshelves. Matthias Knudsen and Jeremy Hobbs wander the house and grounds, checking in on tasks and making sure the library's many agents are doing well. Former military officers work on flipping lumpy mattresses, mysterious occultists polish silverware, and private investigators take stock of canned food supplies, noting any that have dented or spoiled. And so, we find our three stalwart investigators similarly occupied on spring cleaning day, working on the manor's second floor. Julian Benavides. You currently have a vitally important task that only a man of your skills can get done.
It's
You
twerking,
have-
isn't it?
It is not twerking, actually.
Oh,
Probably. If you're going to solve this via twerking, it will definitely take some checks. You have actually been assigned the task of cleaning all of the upstairs mirrors. You have been given a bucket of soapy water, a flannel rag, and a bit of soda ash. And Julian has been making his way steadily through the library, getting all of these so they're kind of spotless and sparkling again, and probably taking a minute or two to admire himself in the different mirrors.
they are mostly clean. There is a definitive mark of lips in the corner of every single mirror.
Amazing. Someone else will be tasked with cleaning those later.
That sounds like a problem for somebody else.
Absolutely the case. Now, as Julian is going through these and going into each of the different rooms, what is on his mind? Is there anything that he's thinking about from this past mystery that he's been on? Is there anything he's literally or metaphorically reflecting on?
Is there? Having nothing to do with how me as a player rolled in that previous adventure, he's just been kind of ruminating on. I thought I was really good at reading people. I thought that people love me, and I'm good with instruments, and everything was out of tune. No one would be my friend. I must be losing my touch. As I'm polishing off a mirror, is that a gray? No, it couldn't be. Those are the thoughts that are going through his head, alternating with his playlist for the next evening when he'll be back at Madame Lou's.
Marvelous. Meanwhile, upstairs, I've mentioned that the library is a bit strangely designed. Placed exactly in space above the kitchen, but requiring at least a separate stair and hall, is a dining room. And currently, Sofie, as well as another member of the library, are working there. They have brought up a bin of large bin filled with soapy water, and are currently washing and drying off various chinaware. Sofie, you've met this person a couple of times. Her name is Agatha Björstrom. She is a middle-aged medical student who is currently studying at the University of Washington. You know that she also has the site, as do most of the people operating at the library. And she is currently looking over to you and wondering whether you want to handle the washing or the drying.
Oh, I can do the washing. It doesn't really bother me. There's very little that grosses me out, you might say. So please hand it over.
She happily pushes the stack of plates towards you. The good news is, because these are both very nice china, and also because the dining room is such a pain to get to, they're mostly just dusty.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of like old food or anything gross on these. They're
Maybe
in,
some bugs, flies,
yeah,
dead.
yep, nothing like that. Just like a kind of thin patina of dust on most of them that needs to get cleaned off. You think probably there's been maybe 1 or 2 meals that people have eaten here, but generally this is pretty unused.
Mm-hmm.
So as the two of you are washing dishes, she's kind of taking each one and drying it with a rag. What is Sofie thinking about? Is there anything that she's thinking back on from her previous encounters in the mystery?
Not necessarily that much from the mystery, mostly because Brian didn't tell us to think about that, and I have to have instructions to follow, or I don't. Even then, I don't actually do it. So, um, so anyway, she's kind of processed everything from the previous mystery, but now she's kind of thinking about some things that she's learned recently, and about some things that need done in her house, that she's constantly trying to improve and finish, not remodeling is a strong word, but at least bringing it up to livable standards in many of the rooms. And she's also been looking into the death of her parents, especially her mother, but her stepfather as well, many years ago. And she's thinking about how she actually wanted to go visit someone today to speak with them, someone who was an acquaintance of theirs back then, and she wanted to go visit them, but she got recruited to dry dishes and wash dishes. So that's okay. She's happy to help.
And other tasks around the library as well.
Of
It is
course.
not just cleaning dishes.
Right this moment
Yep.
only, yeah.
So Agatha takes another wet plate from you. So, Sofie, what is it that you've been researching lately?
Um, well, I am always looking into uh, ancient runes and things like that. I just have a personal interest, you might say, and I'm actually looking forward to hearing back from a professor in Norway who is an expert on those. So eagerly awaiting a letter from him about some inquiries that I've had. So that's one thing I've been working on. And then just kind of looking into some things from my past that may or may not be related to, well, I don't really think they're related to the library, but um, once you are stricken, you might say, with the sight, you sort of look back on your other episodes in your life with a different lens, don't you?
She nods at that. That is definitely true. I felt like I was living my life with my eyes closed until I realized everything going on around us.
Yes.
Well, if you're looking into runes, you may want to speak to some people at the university as well. I don't think they're necessarily going to be as experts as folks in Narve, but they may know a thing or two.
That is a good idea. I haven't spoken to them at any time recently. I mostly have spoken to people here at the library, but it's certainly worth a shot.
I would be more than happy to introduce you to a few, but most of the folks I know are on the medical side.
Well, any help would be appreciated. Thank you.
And she smiles and nods and makes a quick note in her notebook to introduce you to some of the different doctors at the university later.
Great.
We then slowly pan away from the two of them and down the long halls of the library to Caelan. Caelan, you have been given the perhaps not entirely as desirable job of carrying some of these heavy carpets, bundling them and the draperies up, carrying them outside, and then shaking out all of the dust and dirt that's accumulated.
All right.
Now, I'm just asking this because, no reason. Is Caelan shirking all of his duty?
uh, So I mean, I feel like Caelan, he wants to be liked. He wants to be considered handy and helpful. And so I think he starts off very like motivated,
Starts
like
off strong.
yeah. He has a really strong start, but then after a while, he's like, I've done this to so many different rugs. Like, yeah, he starts to goof off a little.
Okay. So you get through the first one. You're lugging this heavy rug down the stairs. You get it outside. You just shake the ever-loving shit out of this thing. Huff it back upstairs. Bring out all the draperies, get them down off the curtain rods, which involves having to go find a chair to climb up on. Then you get those outside and shaking those ones a little bit more slowly. You pick up the third very heavy rug, which is covered in these patterns of ships out on the water. Does that make Caelan think about anything from the previous mystery?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. He starts, thinking about braided beards and, kind eyes and deep voices. And he kind of starts to get lost in a daydream.
You are not sure how long you spent just kind of hanging out for a while, thinking about some things, when from the doorway you hear, Caelan! Caelan! You see Jeremy waving his arms spastically.
Oh, shit. Oh, hello there, Jeremy. How are you?
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm just shaking out this rug here.
You appear to be sitting on the bed, and the rug is in the corner of the room. That does not
Oh,
appear to be getting shaken out at all.
oh, I see. I was just taking a little break. You know how it is. You take a break, get your strength back up, and you hop right back to it. And saying that, he hops back up and grabs the rug. Just a
As
wee
you were
break is
saying this,
all.
like, oh, of course you take a little break. Jeremy is just giving you like the dead ass stare. Like, Jeremy is always friendly and enthusiastic and just like always wants to be a people pleaser, but not on spring cleaning day.
Oh
Spring
no.
cleaning day is the one day you don't fuck around.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah. Let me just take this out. If you'll step aside, please. Excuse me.
And you kind of scoot your way past. Throughout the rest of the day, you again have that kind of wave pattern of you get going, you get some energy, and then you really don't want to be doing this. And then
Yeah.
sooner or later, Jeremy's like, hey! Unsurprisingly, this happens more than a few times.
Yeah, one time, Caelan, takes out a rug, shakes it out, makes it nice and clean, and then just kind of like lays it down in the sun, and kind of just like lies down on on the carpet outside on the grass.
It takes a power nap in the grass.
Exactly.
So Jeremy spends the majority of his day chasing Caelan from one room to another, trying to keep him on task. And sure enough, by late afternoon, the library is starting to look pretty good. The mirrors are beautiful and reflective, barring the few occasional small lip smudges. Everybody meets in the dining room, walking across these nice, clean rugs that only have a few grass stains on them, and has a large meal together. Just enjoying the nice, clean place that you all live and work. All right, now, stepping away from that scene, we've got some mechanical stuff to do. Because, dear listener, our characters have done some leveling up. Now, we're not going to make you listen to everything, and Vossen is a little bit of a different game than something like Dungeons & Dragons, where we're rolling for hit points and getting new special abilities. Well, actually, we are getting new special abilities, and we'll tell you what all those do, but it's a little bit different still. So we're going to run through what our different characters have invested in, talk a little bit about how they'll be using those, and be talking about what they did with their rewards from the previous mystery. So, Aaron, you are up first. I believe Sofie has a new talent and a new skill. Is that right?
I do. I have a new talent called Sixth Sense, which if I get extra successes, I can tell if a Vossen has been in the area.
Nice.
Yeah, which should come in handy. And then I also have a improved investigation skill.
Excellent. I already have some ideas for our next mystery about how we're going to make use of that sixth sense.
Woohoo!
Now, what did Sofie do with the dragon's gold that she was rewarded?
Please hold.
Let me know if you need a recap on that.
He put it back. I think she put it back into the thing.
She donated it to the library themselves.
Yes. Okay. She donated it to the library to help improve our capabilities with the library's perks and stuff.
Now, it is important to note she did not invest it into the library, as that would involve actually using that money, which might attract the obsession of Vossen. She simply gave it to the library to study and do with as they saw fit.
And Sofie has had enough of Vossen's attention.
Oh, you think that now?
Well, so I hope.
And Phoenix, what are Julian's new talents?
Julian decided, well, owing to his rough outing down by the docks, he has taken two different talents, the first of which is Performer, with which he can ignore conditions when he makes inspiration or manipulation tests, which is kind of awesome.
Excellent. I think that's going to get a lot of mileage.
And then he also took Defensive, so that when the stuff goes down, he'll be a little bit more able to take care of himself. So with Defensive, every turn he gets one extra action that can be used to dodge or parry.
Excellent. And what did Julian do with his share of the dragon's gold?
I believe I thought I was just donating it. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that it was my share of it. I thought we were just deciding for the entire amount.
So everyone actually got their own cut.
The library as well. Okay. I think he probably did the same then, not wanting to take any chances with attracting attention.
Well, I know someone who definitely will take chances attracting attention. Quinn, tell us about Caelan's new talents and what he did with the dragon's gold.
All right. Yeah. So I thought about doing something more practical. There were a lot of good choices, and investing in skills is always a good choice, especially Caelan. Caelan is a young character, which young characters start out with better attributes but fewer skills. So I thought that would be good. But then I said, fuck it. I'll do something fun instead. So Caelan got two talents. One is the Mother of Invention, which allows me to use, or allows him to use, the equipment bonus from an item that he has on a different skill than it usually applies to. So, he has a walking stick that, grants him a bonus to, what is it, Brian?
Usually force tests when traveling overland.
Yeah, so maybe I'll find a way to use it for vigilance or medicine. Who knows? We'll find out. And then he also got a talent called Contacts that allows me to decide that Caelan just has a positive relationship with an NPC in a scene. So if Brian introduces an NPC, I can just be like, that's my bud right there. And Brian has to go along with it, although he does have veto powers in the case of, in case someone is the secret big bad or something.
I believe the exact text is, if it would make the mystery less fun.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's what Caelan is up to.
And what did Caelan do with his share of the dragon's gold? He definitely kept it, right?
No. So, Caelan actually refused to touch it. He just, like, anytime he saw it, he would leave the room. Anytime anyone tried to give it to him, he would, like, keep his hands in his pockets and, like, back away. He's not having anything to do with those.
The one character I definitely would have expected to take dangerous gambling chances is like, no thanks, playing it safe.
Poor Brian. No one took the bait this time.
Don't worry, there'll be plenty more bait coming up.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, Brian, you know why Caelan's not fucking with that.
Mm-hmm. But had it been any other circumstance, I absolutely would have expected Quinn to double down on it.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah, for sure.
Just for character reasons,
Yeah.
not happening.
Exactly.
There are two things that Sofie would definitely take great risk for, but I'm not going to tell you what they are. They're the same things as Aaron would, but I'm not going to tell you what they are.
I'm going to speculatively guess books and cats.
Fuck, I forgot about cats.
3 things.
Books
Three
and
things. There's 3
I
things.
literally just took a drink of water and almost started drowning. All right. The 3 of you get to kind of rest and relax for a little bit. The other members of the library kind of drift in and drift out. Jeremy opens up a bottle of brandy and gets that going. And everyone kind of gets to relax and enjoy a sort of chill late afternoon, having spent the day doing quite a bit of work. You all look around, and you do realize that Matthias is actually not in the gathered group of investigators. There are probably about a dozen or so people here, different members of the library, different folks with different professions. Even old Agda left the library, although you're fairly certain Thorn is still down there guarding it. However, Jeremy kind of quietly makes his way over to the group of you. Pardon me. Master Matthias was hoping to speak to all 3 of you. He might. Down in his office, if you have a moment.
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you, Jeremy. Hey, quick question. Since we're having this little private conversation, who are all these other people?
Oh, the other members of the library here.
They're members here?
Oh, of course.
What do they do?
Well, they're investigators like you. They go out
I-
and look into different supernatural phenomena. They help placate the Vossen. They help keep people safe.
But I thought we were the investigators.
Well, you're not the only ones.
We're not?
Jeremy cannot tell if you're fucking with him right now. He
Mind
genuinely
blown.
is unable to tell.
I think that Brian is unable to tell as well.
Also the case. Caelan would have run into some of these people before. There are different members of the library, sort of similar groups like yours, who
Okay.
go out and do similar investigations.
Cool. Do we have, like, a team name?
That is up to you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there like a name for what they? Because in some games it's called like a coven, and some it's a circle, and some it's stuff like that. Is there that in Boston? Some name for a group of investigators?
I want to call it a cell. We're a cell of the library.
So interestingly, Aaron, I
think
don't
we're just
think
a bunch
that
of
they're
freaking nerds.
that's the one. So interestingly, in Vossen, there isn't really kind of a name for what you would call the group of characters.
Oh, okay.
They could just be investigators, party members, comrades. There's not really a kind of game-specific term for what the group is called. But if there's a name you want to call yourselves, you can definitely come up with it.
Oh boy, that's gonna take a whole episode.
Let's be fair, that's going to take at least a season.
Right,
That's going to be like the last words of the last episode.
right.
Like, I think we should call our group, and then we cut it off.
That's good.
All right, cool. We go seek out Matthias, I guess.
Excellent. Now, it's going to take a little while to get there, because again, this is a strangely designed house. Just checking in, is everybody here familiar with the Winchester Mystery House?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Is that the one with the staircases leading to nowhere and doors that
Yes.
stuff and blah blah? Yeah.
So Phoenix, this is somewhat germane to the time period. I don't think the house actually was constructed yet, but the heiress of the Winchester firearms line
Can I tell the story?
Oh, yeah, after you, Quinn.
Yeah, so this lady married like the Winchester who like made all the rifles, and then she was haunted by all the ghosts of all the people that were ever killed by a Winchester rifle, and it drove her insane. So she started just building and building and building in her house to keep the ghosts away or confused. Nobody's really sure.
So you can still visit this house today. It is this sprawling thing in, I believe, San Jose. And it is this enormous, gigantic mansion that just has rooms upon rooms upon rooms. As she believed if she kept building the house at all times, those spirits wouldn't be able to find her.
Okay.
So there is a, not quite to that level and extent, but a slightly similar vibe to the library. It is a place that has been purposefully built, and yet as non-intuitively built as humanly possible. That may give you all some thoughts as you are wandering this strange house. Now, as y'all are walking along, you are alone in the halls. The strange place has a slightly eerie silence to it. You can just barely make out the clinking of glasses and the laughter coming from a far way down the hall, but it feels distant and removed. There's mostly just the three of you all alone.
Oh, I tell you, too, it was a gorgeous day out today. Gorgeous.
It was. We were very lucky.
Yeah. Did you see the weather yesterday? Ugh. So overcast, so many different levels of gray. I tell you what, I've never seen so much gray.
It was actually literally nice out yesterday, too.
Wait, it was?
This only happens when it's been nice 3 days in a row in the spring.
3 days in a row.
Oh,
Yeah.
never mind then.
But a couple days before
Yeah,
that.
no, I said yesterday.
It was just the worst.
Yeah, so many different levels of gray. I lied down, I counted them. 50 different shades of gray there were in the sky. Ridiculous.
Ugh.
I turn over to Sofie. Does he know his numbers?
Caelan just sitting there with his fingers going like 17, 25, 32.
50.
Yeah, 50. Got it all. Sofie, was there anything that you wanted to talk to your teammates about?
Yes, I've actually I have found out some things about my parents. I think I mentioned to you guys that I was going to look into, people that knew them some time ago, of course, when I lived here when I was younger.
Hey,
and
Sofie, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You feeling all right?
yes, I feel fine. Why?
Your voice sounds weird. I don't know.
Oh, yes.
I just like do I need to have Jeremy go find you a soothing tea with honey, or perhaps
Well,
just
darling,
some whiskey?
I don't think tea is good. Well, let me just explain. So as you know, my mother was from Norway, and I am also technically from Norway, though I moved here when I was very young. And for quite some time, I have been, I wanted to. She was taken from me when I was quite young. I believe I was about 14. And,
oh no, who took her?
Well, one day I shall find that out, Caelan, and then there will be hell to pay. But until then, I had wanted to be closer to her, and you may have seen me read her journal, and I have studied many things that she wrote there, but I don't really speak very good Norwegian. Though I perhaps, there are many phrases that I've learned from her book that I do really enjoy. Learning the language of my homeland, and also some people here at the library have been helping me to brush up on my rusty Norwegian. But the truth is, I don't have a Norwegian accent. That was sort of this, not quite subconscious, but this way that I was trying to sort of connect with my mother. And I had noticed recently that some of the people that we've run into who are actually Norwegian, it was a marked difference, and I thought I really should try to just be myself instead of always, trying to put on this sophisticated air of a aristocratic Norwegian lady such as my mother. So, yes, that's why I sound perhaps a little bit different, but hopefully no one in the professional sense will notice or say anything, because that would be quite awkward now, wouldn't it?
Sofie, my dear, and Julian walks up and kind of takes both of your hands in his. I've known for some time that wasn't your true accent, but hey, it's okay, because sometimes, when I'm meeting someone, they tend to be more at ease if I can mimic the accent of their own lands. We have so many people coming here. I have this outrageous French accent that I sometimes use, and I would tell you my Norwegian accent at this point as well. I'll tell you, if the fishermen love it, but I'm not going to demonstrate that at this point, because there's really no need to do that. And I wouldn't want to promote any stereotypes of what a Norwegian accent sounds like right now. But
Caelan speaks up and says, if you are looking to learn a Norwegian accent, who has a great Norwegian accent is Jan. And he's very friendly. I'm sure he'd be willing to teach you.
That is very true, and I think at least he could help me brush up on my Norwegian, even if I perhaps just leave the whole accent thing behind.
And it's absolutely just fine to be yourself, unless you are ever considering taking me up on that offer. There is always a place for you at Madame Lou's. I tell you, with those stems, dear. But I digress.
I've done my time in such a place.
With those what?
Yeah, you don't. I wouldn't. You couldn't pay me to. Not that her establishment is very respectable, and I have no problem with it whatsoever. But no thanks.
Of course not. And I give you a little kiss on the cheek.
Aw.
Did you say those thumbs?
Stems.
Stems? Oh, like legs?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Like legs.
Your legs, kid. Your gams. Those ankles should be in pictures. All right. So, you are on your way down the hall. Matthias's door is partially ajar, and you make your way inside. He has several candles that are lit on his desk. He is enjoying a small glass of port, and he smiles broadly as the three of you enter. Ah, excellent, excellent. I was hoping you would be able to make it down. I'm sorry to pull you away from the festivities tonight, but I wanted to take a moment to personally congratulate you all. I have heard how well things went. You managed to not only help Jan, but From what I have heard, you also managed to resolve the situation peacefully, helping Zavasan find a new home. Is that right?
Yes, I think that's a good assessment.
Yes, I think I think so. Although really, and I kind of look down at my hands that I'm kind of wringing out. Really, the credit for much of the success of this one. I don't know what was going on with everything, but really, this one was all Caelan's doing.
Oh, no, of course not. You remember when you came on the ship and made sure I was okay? That was really helpful.
This is no time for sarcasm, Caelan. You were instrumental in this mystery. It's very true.
Caelan wasn't being sarcastic. He was trying to be
Ma-
comforting and doing a bad job.
I
Master,
assumed, but you know.
Master Matthias, I don't suppose you know of any Vasen that make a habit of, I don't know, say, untuning a fiddle, perhaps?
That must be it, Julian. That
It's
has
the
to be.
only explanation I can think of.
It really is. I've
It
never.
just threw me off my entire game
Of
for
course.
the entire time. Master Matthias, are there any that would do that?
He seems to genuinely ponder this, looking up and kind of seeming to think and tapping the side of his nose a little bit. If Asen who might untune the fiddle. And as he's kind of pondering this, he very lightly pushes that little glass of port so that it's over in front of Julian. I think I may recall a story or two about mischievous possums.
Yeah, me too. I saw one actually the day before. It was fiddling with your fiddle. It was, and I forgot to tell you. That's all. My bad.
My gaze
Matthias
goes up wide-eyed over to Caelan.
Matthias pushes his chair back from the desk and gets up and momentarily busies himself with something on his bookshelf. And when he returns, he is holding a set of very old books that are all bound together with a bit of ribbon. And he very lightly and gingerly places them on the table. He undoes that little bit of book ribbon that holds them all together. These are something I would like you all to have. They are journals. He puts his hand on a slim, green-bound volume. This particular one was mine when I was an investigator. There's still a little bit of room in that one. This one was written by my mentor, Magnus Eriksson. And then, Magnus's mentor. And their mentor. Going back 6 generations. They are written in
Oh, this is a treasure,
Norwegian.
Matthias.
They are written in Swedish. They are put together not just by myself and the members of the library, but by the group we descended from. The Society for Studies of the Invisibles
Wow,
and
and
the
I thought we
Protection
had
of
a
Mankind.
name with a mouthful.
Oh yeah, no, we cut it down pretty significantly.
A mouthful of a name.
Uh,
Said that super weird.
And then from a drawer in his desk, he adds one more volume. This one is blank. I would like it if the 3 of you would also keep journals of your investigations. These may perhaps help, and perhaps you will find that violin tinkering Basen in here.
Caelan picks it up and hands it to Julian.
Julian looks at the Swedish writing, realizes
The
he has
empty
the
one.
book upside down. Oh, pardon.
The one that we're going to be writing in.
Oh, no wonder I couldn't understand it. It's fucking blank. Yeah, I take it out. I take a look at it. Kind of run my hand over the leather of the cover. And then I kind of like make this kind of winching up my face a little bit. Sofie, I think this is more your domain. And I just hand the book over to Sofie.
Sofie just like smiles, like obviously I knew Julian was not going to be the record, and nor was Caelan. So the whole time I was just like letting you guys
Have a moment.
You guys go ahead and do your little ritual, and then go ahead and hand it to me because I'll be the one who's.
I hand it over to you, and I'm like, it's pretty, but yeah.
Yes, of course.
Like I could write a song in it, maybe, but that'd be about the
Perhaps
extent
we
of it.
can. Yes, I will absolutely save a page for that, Julian. That would be lovely, and something to certainly that we should record for future generations of investigators.
As you guys are kind of discussing, Matthias walks around the edge of the desk and rests a hand on Julian's shoulder. If you get the chance, you should read the story of the time I was chased out of a village that I was trying to help.
Caelan immediately grabs for Matthias's journal and tries to find that story.
Matthias just laughs as soon as you go for it.
I kind of like, I've got halfway got my hand out to take a look at it before Caelan dives in. I just kind of shrug, and then I just go for the glass of port instead.
Matthias kind of brushes one of his mustaches with his other hand.
One of his mustaches?
Sorry, one of his mustaches? He has multiple mustaches?
Thick, curly handlebar mustache.
You mean mustaches in like the archaic sense of mustaches in plural is what they call his. Okay, because I was.
He does not have like Poirot, Kenneth Branagh double mustache.
Because in Dragon Age, when people went to mod Blackwall, they removed the beard, and underneath that beard was another beard.
Who doesn't love a good double beard?
And that's what it made me think
of. So he brushes his mustache, the mustache, singular mustache.
Mustachio.
I assure you, Julian, what we do is necessary and difficult, and occasionally embarrassing and terrifying all at once.
Caelan has found the story and is like, why did you say that to her that way?
I was young and foolish.
Yeah, obviously.
He kind of chuckles and rolls his eyes at that. But I hope that these will help you. And I look forward to seeing what you all add. Thank you for your service to the library.
Thank you for running the library.
Yes, thank you, Matthias, for everything that you've done, teaching us about all the things that we didn't understand at first, and giving Caelan a place to stay occasionally, and there are just many things that you've done for us, and we definitely appreciate it.
I will just throw out real quickly there, Sofie, as you mentioned, learning about all of the different things and kind of teaching us. Julian looks, he stifles it down pretty quickly, but he looks a little uncomfortable, just as you're describing all of that. Just kind of like, just kind of rolls his shoulders a little bit of a shiver.
Caelan chuckles at something in the book and then kind of notices the silence and looks up and is like, oh, sorry, what's been going on?
I'm just drinking my port. And I kind of raise the glass up to Matthias. Thank you, sir.
He gives you a respectful nod and then tops it off for you.
This is why I love working for you.
Also, the cinnamon rolls. I don't suppose you have any lying around?
I am afraid we did not have any baked this evening, but we can see what we can do in the next few days.
Nice.
All right, so you have all unlocked a development at your headquarters. For our listeners, in addition to characters getting to level up, the headquarters gets to level up as well. So our players elected to unlock an upgrade called the Annals of the Society, which we will definitely never snicker at. Yep, I set that up. This is a series of volumes detailing the past events and supernatural goings-on that members of the library have dealt with, allowing the characters to contribute to that growing record, gaining a little bit of additional experience every session.
Yeah, by the way, Brian, that was a really cool way to materialize the perk, the upgrade.
Yeah, it was neat.
Having the volumes, that was really cool.
Anytime you guys level up the library headquarters, I will try and find cool ways to work it in.
I love it.
All right, so the three of you head out of Matthias's office and are again alone in your headquarters. Caelan, was there anything that was top of mind?
Yeah. So as the group is making their way through the library, Caelan spots one of the lip marks on one of the mirrors, and kind of slows a step for a second, and then says, "So, I was hoping for a bit of advice from you two."
Mm-hmm.
I'm always happy to give you any advice that I may, Caelan. Anytime. Ask away.
So, I have a friend who, let's say, has a crush on someone atypical. And it's not clear if it's mutual, and I'm just wondering what I should tell my friend to do in this situation.
So as
Caelan,
soon as
are
you
you
mentioned
going to
the
ask Jeremy
crush-
on a date?
What?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call him unconventional, but to each his own.
No.
He seems very nice.
No. Jeremy is annoying. No, that's unfair. He's a very nice man who helps me stay on track.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. Please go ahead. Oh, you mentioned it was your friend anyway, not you. Sorry about that. I misunderstood.
Yeah, so as soon as you mention a crush, Julian, who has been kind of looks like he's been kind of lost in his own world of thought for a moment, is instantly listening very intently. And as soon as Sofie mentions this, he kind of nods and kind of points one finger towards you. Yes, this friend. Is it you?
What? No, of course not. It's my friend K. It's my friend K. He just
Right. And I just look over to Sofie, kind of put my fingers up towards my lips, and just kind of like, KK.
No, just K. It's he just goes by his first initial is all. But yeah, so K has met an older gentleman who he's quite enamored with, and he just is not sure if it's if it's mutual or like how to go about figuring that out.
Well,
Kay is not an investigator like me, so obviously he needs a little help getting to the bottom of things.
Oh, obviously.
Course. Yes, that makes total sense. Have you has your friend spent much time with this older gentleman?
I mean, some.
And I understand if you need to ask Kay about that if you don't have all of that information at this time.
Well, Kay and I go.
Oh, I'm sure he's told you all about it, hasn't he?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Sofie.
Right.
Kay and I go way back. He has no secrets from me. But yeah, Kay kind of met him while on a job, and so they did spend some time together, but they haven't really had a chance to, hit things off yet.
Well, it seems the first step would be to try and spend more time with this gentleman and see what sort of things he's interested in, and it would be certainly easier to gauge a returned interest if there were more meetings to go on, you might say.
And let's say, what kinds of things might Kay do with this person, like during those meetings?
Well, what's their profession, this gentleman that you're speaking of? What they do?
Indeed, yes, the profession of this individual that Kay would like to know more about. Tell us.
Sofie will reach over and surreptitiously, pinch Julian on the arm.
I just look over at you, just big shit-eating grin. He is absolutely living for this. Just living for this.
Caelan is pretty pale. He's definitely flushing quite noticeably. He's like, this older gentleman that Kay's into is let's say a manager of sorts, a small business owner.
Oh, well, that could be all right, I suppose. They would probably want to talk with him about his business interests and ask him what his hobbies are. And for instance, some gentlemen enjoy getting out on the water or playing playing sports of some sort. Sporting is very popular, and
water sports, I see.
Yes.
Go on.
Or maybe he has pets like a dog or even a cat. Maybe he has sort of arts and crafts that he enjoys. Weaving or
making
something.
ships and bottles, for instance.
Well,
braiding his elaborate beard.
That's what I was getting at.
Well, but I mean, the issue is that Kay met this man while on a job, and how would Kay go about contriving the next meeting? So obviously these are all things that Kay can talk to him about once Kay,
I grab your hands, Caelan, and just look seriously into your eyes. I have one piece of advice. Flowers. Flowers. You need not... Kay need not contrive any sort of elaborate... Just bring the man flowers.
Oh, Julian.
And if Kay is able to write a song as well, I mean, that has always worked well for me.
I think perhaps your advice is very, very good for perhaps different situations.
Julian, that could work. Perhaps bring him another option would be to bring him a nice bottle of liquor or something like that, a nice bottle of whiskey or even brandy or something, and then maybe he would offer to share it with your friend, with Kay.
Oh, that's a wonderful idea. I do know that this gentleman quite likes port, and I know where to find some good port, so I could I could give that to Kay to give to this man, and that would be very helpful.
Sofie is side-eyeing Matthias. Well, he's not. We're not in there with him anymore.
No, you're down the hall from his office, so it thankfully doesn't sound like Caelan's hating on his boss.
No. Caelan is thinking about stealing from his boss to give to his lover.
Right, of course.
His potential lover. You're not there yet.
Yeah, sure. I'm much more confident in Caelan's ability to seduce this man than Caelan is.
I mean, as long as it involves a stealth check, it doesn't surprise me that you're confident in that.
That sounds so wrong.
For getting the port, not
Sex
for.
and seduction should never be in the same.
Yeah. Julian, being well ahead of his time, is just nodding along with this and is humming something under his breath that it's a tune that none of you recognize. But in the future, they're going to call it "Let's Get It On." And I don't know. So Julian will write it down under the pen name of Marvin Gaye.
Delightful.
So that is not the song I have had in my head for this whole scene, which instead was Matchmaker from Fiddler on the Roof.
So Caelan, having received the advice he's looking for, is now feeling a bit embarrassed and scrutinized, and it's like, oh yes, great, excellent, thank you for your help, and shall we go? And he starts walking off.
Sofie will
just
just share a
again,
look
no.
with Julian. And
Oh yes,
he gets
oh,
a little
yes.
further away. I'll be like, don't be mean to him. He's trying.
And what's wrong with flowers? You're the one who went straight to hard liquor.
Well, he's a captain. I mean, we both know it's the captain, right? So, you know.
Obviously, we know it's the captain. And I must say, I wouldn't mind running my fingers through his beard either.
Honestly, Julian, he was very a striking gentleman. I can't really blame Caelan for having a crush on him.
Kay, you mean?
Oh, of course. I'm sorry. Slip of the tongue.
Caelan.
Absolutely. It certainly can't be him, because he mentioned that this person, they just went by their first initial of K, and his name starts with a C, so clearly it cannot be the same person.
You're so right. We've been misconstruing all of his comments this whole time.
You know what? I think you probably called it the first time. I bet it is Jeremy.
I'm gonna slap him with my whatever. I don't have a fan. I'm not a war heroine or something, but I don't know. The journal. I'll slap him with one of the journals.
I feel like Sofie would hit him with a journal and be like, oh my gosh, are you okay? And then check on the journal.
Yeah, no, that's what I was just gonna say. Like slap him a little bit with it, and then like dust the journal off and like hold it close. Like, oh, I'm so sorry.
And as you do slap me with the journal, I shoot you this wounded, offended look, and then just smile. If you were trying to give that back to me, I did come up with a song for it for later, so I'll send that over to you later.
Oh, how delightful! I look forward to it.
So the two of you are following after Caelan, who is kind of walking up, like let's say power walking down the hall.
Yeah, definitely.
Trying to put some distance there. And Quinn, right as Caelan gets to the front door, there is a loud knocking upon it.
Curious. He'll turn around and start going the other way and say, Jeremy, there's someone at the door.
Oh, wow.
Now, you know Jeremy is way off upstairs at the party.
He's shouting really loud, Jeremy, the door.
So Sofie and Julian are able to easily catch up.
Past him and open the door, yeah.
Oh, I suppose we can do it too.
Sofie, when you open the heavy ashwood door, an elderly coachman waits outside. Behind him is a gilded carriage, which has seen some better days, and has a faded sigil on the side of a mermaid holding a once bright red fruit in her hand. The coachman is wearing a slightly faded black suit and has a bowler hat atop his curly white hair. He quickly pulls the hat off and performs a quick and slightly curt bow. Pardon me. It's my pleasure to make your acquaintance. My name is Horatio. I'm a servant of Edward Van Dor of Breakwater Hall. We have a matter of a somewhat sensitive nature, and I've been told your organization can be trusted to investigate something odd with, and he kind of looks over his shoulder, a bit of discretion. Would you be the right person to speak to?
Oh, well, I am not personally. I can, of course, assure you that yes, there's definitely someone at the library who could help you. But perhaps I should go get the. What is he called? What is Matthias called? What is he, the director?
I don't know if we came up with an exact title for what he is.
Mr. Director, of course.
I'll call him the director. Let me just go and see if the director of the library is available, and he'll be able to assist you. Just a moment.
Do we have a sitting room or something? Should we?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, we could just show him.
You just have to go down this hallway, then down the stairs, take a right, then a left, then the third right. Now make sure you don't go down the second left.
Left, and if you come back, don't go the same way, because then you'll end up in the basement.
He looks beyond baffled right now.
Just stay in the foyer. Julian, if you could just stay with him, and I'll just I'll run get Matthias quickly.
Sure, I can do that. Hi, I'm Julian. How are you?
Oh, I'm quite well. I'm certainly happy to hear that there are people here who might be able to help us.
Oh, we live to help people. I'm sorry, I missed your name. What was your name one more time?
Horatio.
Horatio.
He offers out a hand for you.
I take it, and it is with my customary, very delicate, I am giving you my hand. I will shake it, or you could kiss it. It's kind of up to you.
Again, you get that slightly confused handshake where he feels like he's suddenly doing way more of the work than he expected.
As soon as the handshake starts in earnest, I match, but the initial choice is up to him.
One day that move is going to work, and it's going to be great for you.
One day, I can't tell you how many times it already has.
All right, Sofie makes her way down the hall, and Matthias's door is still partially ajar. Yes, Sofie, how can I help you?
There's a gentleman downstairs who says that he is the coachman for Edward Von Dorn, I believe he said, Van Dorn. And he wishes to speak to someone in the library about a mysterious matter, I believe.
That is most puzzling. Let us go. Let us show him to the sitting room.
Should we show him to the one that moves or the one that doesn't move? Perhaps the one that doesn't move.
He looks at you over his spectacles. I don't think we have one that moves.
Oh, come now, Matthias. There are many... Okay, whatever you say.
He is not certain whether to take you seriously right now.
Sophie's losing it.
Or is she? The four of you meet back up.
So as you all walk back in there, Julian is sitting down laughing with Horatio. And that is the time that we all got together, and from then on we were all calling them Hornblower.
He guffaws at this. I'm assuming, based on everything I know about Julian, this was an exceptionally ribald story.
Oh.
Like very blue.
I mean, when I say Hornblower,
I mean, gotcha. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Amazing.
Horatio makes a snorting sound and then looks terribly embarrassed. I don't get to hear
about
like that very often.
Well, stick around. You'll hear more.
I just want to say that I think that when Sofie met Julian, she was very concerned for him, as in, like, she was afraid that he was sort of, anytime she meets somebody that's in perhaps a questionable line of work, she's like, are they okay? And so for a long time with Julian, she was like, is he okay? Are they making him do this? Is he, is he is this an unhealthy place for him to be? But now she's just like, oh, Julian.
And yeah, out of character, it wasn't necessarily my intent when I designed the character, but having created him, I mean, this is fantastic. I just get to unleash my inner, 12-year-old boy every
Right?
week or so.
Great.
So the gentleman kind of guffaws at your joke and like hits your knee with his cap. It's just like, you're scandalous. Simply scandalous.
I've been called worse by better.
You. Uh, Matthias kind of looks over you like, Julian.
Matthias, this is Horatio. We were just sharing some stories. So good to see you.
His eyes kind of crinkle at the corners. I can only imagine what kind of stories you're sharing, Julian.
There's no need to imagine. I can tell them to you as well if you'd like.
I am also quite sure I've heard them at least twice.
Probably true.
Somehow they grow more scandalous in the telling.
I mean, some people have fish stories.
Seems a little fishy to me. You are
no, not gonna take the bait on that one.
Don't do it.
Not taking the bait on your fishing. No,
Don't do it.
If you do, you'll be hooked. Sorry,
Moving
my puns are a
on.
wide net.
Cats.
All right. Moving on. The group of you make your way to a small sitting room, which is about 2 doors down from the front foyer. It's a small parlor room with a very large double-sized window in it. There are a few chairs, there are a few odds and ends, there are some taxidermied animals around. It is definitely a bit of a strange room, but here that's not particularly surprising. Now that he's sort of confronted with actually talking about what he's come here for, Horatio looks a little bit more nervous again.
But Caelan speaks up and says, by way of introductions, Matthias, this is Horatio, who represents Mr. Tandori from the Breakwind Institute.
No, all of those details except, I believe, his name were incorrect.
Oh.
I think this is Matthias. I've heard someone else say that.
Yes.
Yes, this is Master Matthias. And
yes, all the other parts of what you said were wrong.
And I point over towards Caelan, and this is the charming Kay.
Caelan.
Lynn.
Caelan.
Yes, Caelan.
It's one word. Why are you saying that?
Sorry, I don't know what came over me. must be something in my throat, and I wink towards Horatio.
He has no idea how to process this.
Mm-hmm. Yes, my good sir Horatio. This is our director, Matthias. Matthias, Horatio, what can we do for you?
I've come here on behalf of my master, the person I work for, named Edward Van Door.
That's right.
He has need of some assistance from an organization that can operate discreetly. Matthias kind of nods as Horatio starts talking. Yes, I'm familiar with the Van Door family.
Are we familiar with that family? Do we know anything about who this might be?
Anyone who'd like to can make a learning test.
Wow, first roll of the session.
Learning, you say? I am really good at those. By which I mean I'm not good at those. 1 success on 3 dice.
1 success on 3 dice.
Totaling my entire amount of successes from our last adventure.
And Sofie?
Yeah, 1 success on 9 dice.
All right, so all of you are familiar with the Van Door family. Edward Van Door is a once wealthy German land baron. While the Van Door name is still very well respected, they have fallen on some hard times since moving out to Seattle. They made a series of unsuccessful business ventures, so they no longer quite have the wealth that they once did. But they are still particularly influential. The kind of significant names here in Seattle The Dennies, the Yeslers, they still know and respect the Vandor name.
Yet they have streets named after them, and Vandor doesn't.
Yep.
All right.
You also have heard a little bit of a reputation for both Edward and for his son Tristan. Edward is a bit of a recluse and is a widower, and his son Tristan has a reputation as a cad.
I feel like that's old-timey lingo that I should know.
So he has a reputation for being scandalous, for being a little bit of an asshole, but in that just shy of likable kind of way.
Yeah, like disrespectfully scandalous.
Yeah.
People.
As opposed
So
to
me, if I
respectfully
wasn't so
scandalous
charming.
like Julian.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
exactly. Honestly. I think that Sofie probably doesn't like him at all because he probably has, been to some of the brothels and stuff and not treated the girls well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
He also has a notorious reputation for getting drunk in public, for not paying his bills, for needing his dad to bail him out from stuff.
Wow. What a cad.
Not necessarily like a reputation as an awful person, but a reputation as the kind of person who doesn't think through things.
I feel personally attacked.
As does Caelan.
Aaron, I would never call you a cad. Horatio has his hat in his hands. So what I wish to speak to all of you of is, well, I know that you investigate strange circumstance. Things maybe outside of the norm. Well, Tristan Vandur, my employer's son, has disappeared. His father, Edward, believes he's been kidnapped. Edward, well, Master Vandur, he doesn't want to involve the police. He's worried for fear of it becoming a scandal and further tarnishing his reputation. But having an outside group look into things and perhaps locate his son, bring him back, that would be what we're certainly hoping for.
What makes this incident outside of the norm? Not that, kidnapping should be considered normal, but it does seem like perhaps a mundane crime versus the things that we usually see here.
Horatio kind of hems and haws and hedges and other words beginning with H. Well, it's certainly, if it is a kidnapping, it is a most unusual kidnapping. Traditional kidnapping involves demands. But really, I think that you should look into it yourself and speak with Edward. Master Vandur, I believe you may perhaps find something he isn't seeing.
I'll just look at Matthias and see if he's, okay with us taking a case that we don't really even know if it's, like, it could just be a spoiled son on some escapade or something.
I mean, that's everything we do. Like, we're never sure if it's Boston until we, get there and find out, yeah?
Well, right, but we have a reason to think that it could be.
I just want to know if the man can pay.
Matthias kind of steeples his fingers. Also, Phoenix, do you ask that?
No.
Okay. Matthias kind of steeples his fingers, lightly resting them on top of his chin. But tell me, Horatio, why is it that you have chosen us? Why come to the library? And Horatio again is kind of like fidgeting with this hat a little bit. I've heard things here in Ballard about your organization. The kind of things that you deal with. Nobody says it, Nobody talks about it. But people know. If I'm being honest, I am the kind of person who leaves a little bit of milk and bread out every Sunday. Just in case, you know?
Sofie gives him a little pat on the arm and a smile.
Sometimes you just know something's not quite right. If you could find Tristan, if it's nothing, if it's just he's gone on a bender, you can get him back and Master Vendor will be happy. It'll go great. If he's been kidnapped, you can find out for us and we can pay whatever the ransom is. And if it's something else, like I worry it might be, then the people who are best equipped will be there to help. And of course, Master Vandor can pay you and see to it that your organization benefits. He's still very well respected among certain circles here in Seattle. Well, in Seattle, not here in Ballard as much. He keeps more to himself. But folks like Henry Yesler would maybe hear names of those who are able to help him out.
I'm just waiting for Matthias to answer.
Yeah.
So the three of you kind of look to Matthias, and he has just a little tiny smile. And at this point, all of you have worked with him enough to know, like, he's interested. He's the kind of person who can smell when there's a story there. And he gives his head a little tiny nod. I think perhaps we can help you out. Would the three of you be willing to investigate this?
Of course. It's been some time since our last investigation, and I certainly am willing to help.
Director, you know that I have always thought of you as the rock of this organization, and I definitely smell what this rock is cooking.
Julian, we cook on a stove. We don't cook on rocks. Also, thank you for making the joke, because otherwise I was going to have to break character into it.
Please tell me that Julian did the people's, like the eyebrow? Did the eyebrow?
I assume Julian is always doing the people's eyebrow.
Yes.
He actually has a third eyebrow painted, but no.
Oh my God. Now all I can do is think of Julian as, like, you know, that super young picture of The Rock where he's like.
With the fanny pack?
With the fanny pack?
Yeah.
That's his violin case.
Yep.
Violin case of holding.
The violin case of holding and the Rock's fanny pack notwithstanding, the three of you get ready to head over to Breakwater Hall. You will be able to set out on your next mystery. But that we'll get to next time.
Dun, dun,
So
dun.
before we wrap up, Julian does actually call Sofie aside for a moment and asks to borrow the blank journal. And if he gets it, he is going to flip open a couple of pages and is going to write out some notations. And it goes, raindrops on roses and Skepsra on fish boats. Tom stayed with Jakob, Red Sky went with Philip. Too many Skepsra caused mayhem at sea. We solved the dilemma fortunately. When young Bach calls, when the mast snaps, when Harold's arm gets broke, we move the Vossen to a cloud chaser boat, and then the luck isn't so bad. And then he hands the journal back over to.
Outstanding.
I'll let you do all of the academic.
Wow.
And now we're gonna get sued by Rogers and Hammerstein.
They're dead anyway. Don't worry about them.
Oh, it's definitely fair
Wait,
use.
did they compose something about Skepsra and Jakob and Philip?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Take that, fair use. It's Parody Town. All right. And on that note, all right. Have a wonderful night, everybody. I think that's where we're gonna wrap. Thank you for listening to this episode of Spirits and Monsters of Old Seattle. Our theme song is Myths and Legends by Robert Bruckmeyer, which is playing right now. Our music is by Andreas Lundström, and you can hear more of his work on the Sweden Rolls podcast. Link in the show notes. Our editor is Hannah Cheney. If you're enjoying this show, please take 2 minutes to rate and leave a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts. I know every podcast says it, but it really does make a difference and helps us continue to grow the show. Finally, remember the motto of the library. Fear gives way to knowledge. Knowledge gives way to wisdom. And wisdom gives way to the truth. Until next time.